Okay, this is my reaction to the up and coming fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. Now, just like any Jake Paul fight, this fight's got a lot of controversy. Obviously, the fact that Jake Paul is basically a heavyweight fighting a lightweight in Gervonta Davis. But just like any Jake Paul fight, everybody's gonna watch this one. More than the fact that both guys are actually superstars. I would say Gervonta Davis is probably, aside from Canelo, the biggest star in American boxing. And this is definitely going to be a very big fight, especially because it's on Netflix. And for me, personally, I mean, I'm a big fan of the sport, but I think that this is going to be a very, very entertaining fight. This fight it's very interesting. I haven't seen we haven't seen a size matchup like this in a long time. You know, Gervonta Davis, he's quite a short fighter, even for his weight class. I think he's 5'5", and Jake Paul is, I think, maybe 6'1", 6'2". So with the press conference being today, and actually seeing them side by side, the weight, it kind of, not the weight, the height looks crazy, the two of them, and the weight is gonna be, I think that, you know, a lot of people, I think, put too much emphasis on weight being a factor in this particular fight. Jake Paul has the size, he has the strength, obviously he has the weight, height and reach, all of that. But Gervonta Davis has a big skill advantage, big experience advantage. And, you know, I think that this fight is going to be very, very entertaining. But I don't think it's going to be close at all. You know, a lot of people don't really know the history of boxing. There's been many fighters early in the 19th century of boxing, many lightweight fighters that used to jump up and fight heavyweight fighters. If you go back to guys like Sam Langford, Joe Gans, you know, there's been many great fighters from the past, you know, lightweight fighters that had jumped up and fought heavyweight fighters. And Jake Paul, I don't really look at him as a YouTube fighter. I definitely think that he's a real fighter. I think that he would beat ranked fighters, but I think skill-wise, he's still, you know, a universe away from a guy like Gervonta Davis. And this isn't my official prediction yet. I definitely will make one closer to the fight. I definitely will be betting money on this fight. You know, Jake Paul, actually, I've won pretty much every single time I bet on Jake Paul. I bet big when he beat Anderson Silva. I bet on Tommy Fury to beat Jake Paul. I bet on Jake Paul to beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And in this fight, I'm definitely, you know, this is my prediction, but I'm going to put money on Gervonta Davis to get the victory. I haven't really seen the odds yet too much for this fight, so hopefully it's not too short. But I definitely think it's going to be a great thing to watch. It's definitely going to be exciting. People that are saying that, you know, it's not going to be a great spectacle are lying to themselves, because seeing a guy that's 5'5" fighting a heavyweight, we haven't really seen that in this generation. And like I said, it has happened before many times. You know, I did see the press conference today, and Jake Paul basically thinks that, from what I can gather, that he's basically just going to keep Gervonta Davis on the end of his jab and basically keep him on the outside. But one thing about Jake Paul, and, you know, I respect him as a fighter. He's done very good. Obviously, he's training like a world champion. But I think that Jake Paul's biggest flaw is the fact that he can't fight on the inside. And I think that's a big reason why he's not fighting guys his weight, because on the inside, Jake Paul's game is to, you know, use his jab. He's got a decent jab. He's got a powerful left hook, a powerful overhand right, but all of his punches are wide. You know, Jake Paul really doesn't have short punches. And to beat a very skilled fighter, even a heavyweight, you must be able to, you know, punch short. You must be able to make your shots, turn your shots in. And Jake Paul, I think his shots are very wide. And I think Gervonta Davis, he's not going to get hit clean by Jake Paul in his fight. I don't know if I'm going to break down the fight now, but I see the fight, basically Gervonta Davis, the first 2 rounds, just like all of his fights, he's just going to stay on the outside and maybe take a couple of Jake Paul's shots, seeing if he can take it. And then he's really going to put his head in his chest. Gervonta Davis is really going to, I think, press Jake Paul on the inside. And Jake Paul, he really doesn't throw any inside shots. You know, his uppercut, he he's got an uppercut, but from what I've saw, and I've saw pretty much all of Jake Paul's fights, he throws all his hard shots from the outside, from a distance. You know, if Gervonta Davis basically closes the distance and makes him work on the inside, I think it's going to be a very easy night for him. I think it's going to get to a stage where maybe, I don't know how long the fight is actually, but if the fight's 10 rounds, round 7 or 8, Gervonta Davis is going to start hitting Jake Paul at will. You know, I don't know if Gervonta Davis, sorry, is going to stop Jake Paul, because basically the only reason is because of the size, but I do think he's going to hit him at will basically from the 7th round on. You know, Jake Paul's going to get frustrated that he can't hit him, especially because Gervonta Davis is very short, and I believe that he's going to fight on the inside. He's going to hit him to the body. He's going to hit Jake Paul with shots he doesn't see coming. And Jake Paul, I think that he thinks that because of the weight that Gervonta Davis can't hurt him. And, you know, I'm not 100% sure if Gervonta Davis is going to knock him out, but there's definitely lightweights of the past that I think could have definitely knocked Jake Paul out. I think if Jake Paul faced Roberto Duran in the 1970 version, Roberto Duran, I think that Duran would knock him out for sure. You know, Duran's definitely a more aggressive fighter than Gervonta Davis. And even though Gervonta Davis' skill level, he's definitely got an extreme high skill level, I don't think he's an extreme risk taker, even though he's a power puncher. So I don't know if he's going to sell out that much. But honestly, I don't think that Jake Paul is going to hurt him. I think that Jake Paul is going to get hurt. And, you know, regardless, even if Jake Paul loses this fight, I don't really think that it's going to hurt his star power too much, actually, because he's still got the, you know, the gift of gab, and he's still got extreme mega fights that can happen after this. Obviously, if he fights any influencer, if he fights KSI, it's going to be, you know, a mega fight. Can he still win a world title after this fight, Jake Paul? I mean, I think he can. You know, there's a lot of fighters in the cruiserweight division. Right now, the light heavyweight division is extremely hot. But in the cruiserweight division, you know, there's 4 belts down the track. He could win a regular title from a guy who's not experienced. And Jake Paul, he's better than journeyman. He's better than a lot of guys just starting boxing, and he trains like a champion. So I definitely think it is possible, actually. He's not going to be, you know, a world-class level, but can he be a world title holder in the future? Even after this loss, I think it's possible. And Gervonta Davis, obviously, I mean, this is a money fight. You can't blame Gervonta Davis for not taking the Lamont Roach rematch and taking this fight, because, I mean, how much is he going to make? Probably more than 50 million in this fight. Jake Paul's probably going to make more than 100 million. You know, you can't turn that type of money down. It's definitely a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So, you know, apart from the boxing, Jake Paul, he's not really going to lose, because I don't think he's ever going to be on the level that he thinks. But, you know, taking a fight like this, you know, his mindset, you know, fighting a guy that's lighter, that shows kind of everything about his character, really. I mean, he's a great businessman. He's obviously killing it in life. But look at a guy like Terence Crawford jumping up in weight, you know, proving himself, taking a risk, wanting to take the hard fights, you know, risking his health. That's not something Jake Paul, being a great businessman that he is. And, you know, if he can make $100 million fighting guys half his size, Gervonta Davis, his reputation, he's really on the line. You know, I'm saying he's going to win easy, but that's only because I rate him so high, skill level. I think that Gervonta Davis, his timing, you know, his movement, his IQ in the ring, and his power, he's basically the whole package. You know, the only thing I think Gervonta Davis' biggest flaw is himself. I think that in his last fight, he definitely wasn't prepared like a champion. Mentally, he probably has a lot going on in his life. I think he has a lot of legal troubles, and I think he has mental health struggles and things like that. He didn't really seem too focused in the press conference where I saw it, but I definitely, don't think he wants to lose to Jake Paul. So I think that he's really gonna lock in this fight. But as far as his career after this fight, he's gonna make a ton of money. I think that his legacy is basically gonna be making a lot of money. I don't think that his achievements in boxing in the end will reflect his skill, because he's a very skilled fighter. After this fight, I don't think that he's gonna take the risks. He has a chance. I'm gonna say he has a chance to do great things like Terence Crawford, to be the best fighter in the world. In order to do that, he has to move up in weight. He has to win more titles. He has to fight good champions. His whole career has been picked carefully. And even though he's a super world-class elite level fighter, he definitely needs signature victories by signature fighters. But honestly, I don't know if he has the hunger anymore. And especially after this fight, when he gets so much money, I don't think that he's going to take those risks and fight those champions. He might fight a couple and he might lose, because this Jake Paul fight, even though he is a giant compared to Gervonta Davis, I don't think it's going to be as hard as a Teofimo Lopez, as a Shakur Stevenson. Even at lightweight, Lamont Roach, the rematch, I think would be a lot tougher than this Jake Paul fight, just because the skill level. I think Jake Paul in this fight, I think he's really going to get exposed. But like I said, he definitely has options after this fight. He's still a megastar. But, this is just a preview. I'm definitely excited to see this fight. It's going to be a mega fight. It could break records. Currently, I think the most watched event, boxing event, just watched event, is Jake Paul against Mike Tyson. It's definitely going to be one of those fights. I do think that more people are going to watch this than the Crawford Canelo fight, just because of the visual effect of it. Gervonta Davis fighting, it's like a David versus Goliath type thing. It's a very unique thing to watch, and I think it's gonna look crazy on the night. It's gonna look crazy, but I really only see it going one way. But even though I'm very excited to watch it. But yeah, there's my preview for Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis.